I don't give a fuck. Fuck them. I don't give a fuck if they can fly and you can breathe underwater. I don't want to be here for that shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm already scared. Now. I'm scared now of the people that exist now. Scared. Shit is not the way it used to be. There is not a manual or a handbook for the shit we're going through right fucking now. Not even biblically. Throw the Bible in the trash. It has run its course. I didn't understand how dope I was in that moment. I didn't realize how dope I was. I didn't realize how great I was. And I can say it now because I'm looking back. Had I been in the moment, had I really reveled in the fact that I'm sitting next to the guy who wrote for the fucking guy, I wouldn't be in my fucking hallway. I wouldn't be in Van Nuys. I wouldn't even be in California. I would be working from my home that I bought in whatever state I fucking want to live in. I lean so much towards Washington and Colorado, so much. Healthcare in Colorado fucking sucks. But I love Denver. But I've not had one enjoyable meal in Denver. Me and Paul did Denver together. Like I did so many fucking shows with Paul. Paul fought for me. Paul had a show called Judge Mooney he did for BET. We did like 60 shows. They hired me under warm-up, but I actually wrote on the show. Paul got me that job. Paul fought for me to get that fucking job. I did Caroline's in New York with Paul. Caroline's in New York had a midnight show that Paul would do. Paul would sell that bitch out. Midnight, a line down the fucking block waiting to go see fucking Paul Mooney. On a Friday and a Saturday night midnight show. 300 people in a room to fucking see Paul. Never seen nothing like it. I've never seen anyone that fucking smart. Him and Patrice O'Neal, the smartest minds I've ever been in a room with. And Dick Gregory. I met Dick Gregory because of Paul Mooney. We did Addison Improv. Crazy Chicken Addison. Fucking Crazy Chicken Addison. Crazy chick in Addison, Texas. Crazy. Fucking Gemini. Woo! When I say this chick was crazy, crazy. I should have known it the first time we fucking hooked up. God, crazy. Put that on blood. God damn, she was crazy. Anyway, Addison Improv. I'm on stage performing. I didn't know Dick Gregory was in the audience. And I'm glad I didn't know because I probably would have tried to really perform. But I was just doing me. And after the show was over, he comes up to me and I have a damn 10, 15-minute conversation with Dick Gregory. Take that, motherfuckers. I don't give a fuck who listening to this shit. I don't give a fuck who you show this to. I've had a conversation. I've heard the voice of Richard Pryor in my ear from a phone conversation. I have heard the voice of Paul Mooney in my ear. I have heard the voice of Dick Gregory in my ear. Fuck out of here. When I say get the fuck out of here, get the fuck out of here. The fuck out of here. But I'm sitting in the room listening to Dick Gregory tell me that he liked my performance. Once again, had I been in the moment and not so obsessed with the goddamn destination, I would have been at my destination by now. Because I got a guy who is pivotal, important in comedy. Black comics wouldn't be able to do what the fuck. Listen, man. Every black comic that's working right now, young or old, you wouldn't be able to do the shit you do if it wasn't for Dick Gregory and Paul Mooney. I don't want to hear you speak if you don't fucking acknowledge that. Paul Mooney and Dick Gregory are the reason why you have the mediocre comedy that you fucking beloved so much right now. Ain't nobody really saying shit, with the exception of Chappelle. Patrice used to try to go in hard. Fuck. Anyway, I'm sitting there with Dick Gregory. I'm standing there with Dick Gregory. I'm standing there with Paul Mooney. And then Paul goes and tells Dick Gregory, this is my protege. Man, fuck y'all. Once again, had I been in the moment, I wouldn't be in my hallway in Van Nuys, living in an apartment, surrounded by motherfuckers that have no fucking culture, trying to figure out how I'm going to make my next dollar until the country opens the fuck all the way back up. But even when they open the country back up, all the bigger name comics are going to get stage time before me because they haven't been working. And God forbid some rich white guy not stay rich. So all the famous comics, much more famous, are going to go back to the comedy clubs until they're able to go back to theaters. And then the comics that are under them are waiting for their club dates. And then comics that they want to build are waiting on that. And then there's me. Had I been in the moment and understood what was taking place at the time, I would not be stressed out about who's going to download this podcast, how many listeners are going to listen to this podcast, how do I get advertisers for this podcast, how can I make some money off this podcast, how do I get people to donate to this podcast, how do I get people to sponsor this podcast. I wouldn't be having these mediocre thoughts of trying to create revenue for myself to survive had I been in the goddamn moment when I was standing there with goddamn Paul Mooney and Dick Gregory, and Paul Mooney tells Dick Gregory I'm his fucking protege. I'm worried about fucking ants and flies, and I'm the fucking elephant the entire time. I'm up here doubting myself, and I've been fucking validated by Dick Gregory and Paul Mooney and fucking Patrice O'Neal. I'm sitting here worried about, man, listen. If I commit suicide, just know it's not because I was depressed. It's because I'm angry at myself. I'm not even joking. If I commit suicide right now, it's because I'm angry at myself for not allowing myself to be in the moment with myself, because I'm worried about my future self being where I want to be, but I would have gotten there had I been paying attention. Living, man, getting older, you start to see the mistakes and the cracks in the ground and where, the holes in the defense and the offense are. I enjoy working with Paul. And I enjoyed the conversations. I didn't take a lot of pictures with Paul. I don't take pictures with people, man. I'm not a picture taker. I'm in the moment. I don't give a fuck if you don't believe that I know somebody. And I'm not about to use a picture of somebody and me to get fucking validation. Fuck anybody who does that. You're trash. If you take a picture with somebody and put on your social media hoping to get likes with your disingenuous ass, I hope you fucking fail. I said it. I'm not taking it back. It's in the universe. It's in the fucking Hall of Fame of he said that. If you take a picture with somebody and you post it for the fuck of it because you're trying to get likes or look important, you are a piece of shit, and your mother fucking wasted her time pushing you out. Paul was honest and real, dude. I don't think I've ever seen anything that real before. I don't think anyone's ever seen anybody that honest and real before. I made Paul laugh one time. I made him laugh a couple of times, but it was one of those times where I took the opportunity to be a comedian that felt like I'm on the same level with this dude, and I'm going to tell him a joke that I would tell one of my close friends. Richard Jennings had just died. Rest in peace, Richard Jennings. Richard Jennings was very nice to me. Great comedian. Wonderful storyteller. Committed suicide. Like most comics, we commit suicide because we're miserable. Most deaths by comedians are suicide. Go look that shit up. Drugs, overdosing, running into a fucking car, suicide, jumping off buildings, suicide. Because it's never enough. Richard Jennings had just died. And somebody said, oh, Richard Jennings just died. I said, I wonder if I can get those dates. That's a comedian thing to say. Like if a comic dies or a comic gets sick, another comic will say, ooh, I wonder who's going to get those dates. Because we're comics. We're looking for stage time. We're looking for an opportunity to work, to be in front of a crowd. And Paul laughed at that shit. I didn't think he was going to laugh, but he was like, that's cold. He was like, that's cold. And he just laughed. Fucking hilarious. I was like, I made Paul Mooney laugh. But I didn't sit in it because I was once again focused on the destination. I realize who I am now. I realize what I do. I realize where I dropped the ball with myself. I realize where I should have been in the moment. Then I would be talking about how I got to where I am because I was in the moment. I really want to try to get out of the habit of believing that nothing means anything. I'm optimistic about it. I'm an optimistic nihilist. I'll own it. Certain days I'm like all into something, and the next day I don't give a fuck about it. I'm a wild card. But I had the opportunity to work with one of the greatest minds in comedy. This guy fought for me. He put money in my pocket. He spoke up for me. I remember we did Helium in Philadelphia. And Paul didn't like the club. He didn't like how he was being treated or nothing. And then I allowed my loyalty to overstep my boundaries because I went to the club manager and I was like, man, Paul don't like this and Paul don't like that and Paul. Because he was going to tell his manager, somebody would have known, it would have gotten back to the club. The club manager went and told the booker that I complained about the club, and the fucking booker would not book me. He used to book Cap City Comedy Club, some other places. But this motherfucker would not book me because he thought I was the one complaining about the club. Man, I'm a headliner now, and I still don't complain about the club. You know why I don't complain about a comedy club? Regardless if the service is shitty, regardless if they don't advertise for me, regardless if the seating is fucked up or the crowds are fucked up, I don't complain because they already don't want to book me. They already don't want me on their stage. They rather have a white guy on that stage or a white woman on that stage. It's just a fact, people. They already don't want to pay me. They almost mad that I have the audacity to think that I can do something that another white comic is doing, and I'm doing better than that white comic. You don't want me on your stage. You say you do, but you don't want me on your fucking stage unless I can make you money. You know, it has nothing to do with funny. It never has, and it never will. It ain't about funny. They don't want me on the stage. They don't want to pay me. They don't want to fly me in. They don't want to give me 6 shows to prove that I can do the same thing the other white guy who they booked last week couldn't do, which is put asses in the seat. I fight to get stage time. I fight to get bookings. Anybody that find me funny, I appreciate it. But unless you and like 100 people that you know that and support that and get behind that, they don't give a fuck. I know they don't want me on their stages. So I do the best I can to not give them a reason to not want to book me. So I don't complain. I don't say, hey, I think I should have got paid more. Or this person was loud. Or the manager was mean to me. Or y'all didn't advertise for me good enough. Or something like whatever. I just don't complain. I don't ask for shit. I don't ask for bonuses or nothing. I literally have to be a slave and be thankful that I'm working. There's motherfuckers that don't even sell more tickets than me that will go to a comedy club and complain. Like have an attitude about the sound or their hotel room wasn't nice. Crazy shit. Entitlement. I don't have that luxury. But Paul taught me to believe in myself. Smart dude, man. I didn't work with Paul anymore after 2010, 2009 really. I had won this NBC Diversity Showcase. And the entire time I was working with Paul, I didn't have a manager. But I always asked his manager to manage me. And she would say no, or we'll talk about it. She didn't really want to fucking manage me. But then I won this NBC Diversity Showcase. And she was like, I'm your manager now. And I was like, because I won some money? And I told her I didn't want her to manage me. And I went with Brillstein. And she told me I couldn't work with Paul anymore. And I had called Paul to talk to him about it. But I didn't fight for it that time. Because I didn't want to put Paul in a position to where he has to choose between me and his manager. And she's the one working for him. I can't put money in Paul's pocket. And I didn't want to put that ripple between him and his people. So I let it go. And I didn't see Paul anymore for a long time. But when he died last week, I felt like a piece of me had died because a piece of me that there's a piece of me that he activated. He got me to believe you're not just a black guy. You are fucking a black man and you deserve and can say and do whatever the fuck you want to do just like anybody. He gave me the courage to say some shit on stage that I probably wouldn't have said on stage. Fucking comics nowadays, they say shit on stage. They don't even know what the fuck they saying. They just doing it because shocking and triggering. And holy shit, he said that fucking sells. I challenge all these motherfuckers that go on stage and say shit like, I do cocaine and I fucked a guy. I was just playing around. Or, man, fuck children, man. They just say wild shit. Or they say something controversial like, I don't really care about Trayvon Martin or something. Like just to get a rise out of people. I don't get it, man. And maybe I'm just that old dude now that like don't understand that maybe I still care and don't realize I still care about shit that I probably shouldn't care about. I just want to say thank you to Paul. Thank you to anybody who listens to the podcast. I know I went long this week. I just had to get shit off my chest. If you want to download the podcast, it's there, iTunes, whatever. I'm going to change the logo again. I'm going to change the logo. I'm going to change the way I do it. Be more active with it. and I really can't worry about who downloads it and how much money I make off of it. I tell people all the time, you can Venmo me or you can fucking cash at me, whatever. I'm not Joe Rogan. I don't get $100 million to fucking talk on a microphone. I don't. And I'm not going to be ashamed that I'm telling people, look, you want to pay me to do this shit? I'll do it every week. I'm not having guests and shit because it's work, man. Fuck out of here. That's too much work. You got to go find somebody to talk to about what? I don't even like people like that. I'm still doing my blog. I'm going back to eat. Emotionally available today. I'm a strong advocate for men being vulnerable and there being nothing wrong about it. This whole mythology that men don't have feelings has got to go. We got to do better. Download the podcast, Just Killing Time, The Ramblings of an Optimistic Nihilist. I'm Aranzio Vance. This is how it's going to be going forward. I'm going to talk about philosophy. I'm going to talk about Nietzsche. I'm going to talk about fucking Immanuel Kant. I'm going to talk about John Locke. I'm going to talk about everybody and their philosophy and how it applies to this world today, how it applies to my life. Or does that shit even make any sense? Or just some fucking white dude who wanted to justify why he wanted to fuck his friends and came over with some philosophy to cover that shit up? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Thank y'all for listening. One thing that I did for my birthday, at 38, I had never done edibles before. I tried edibles, 1, because of depression, 2, because of anxiety, 3, just fucking stress. I don't know how anybody walks through life sober. Like, your life has to be in order for you to walk through life sober. Like, shit has to be going good for you to walk through life sober. Or if you're walking through life sober and your life is a fucking mess, then it's so bad that you can't afford drugs to help you not feel shit as you go through the worst shit in the fucking world. I did mushrooms for the first time. And I was kind of on the fence because I was like, oh, am I really going to do this? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Because I had done research, and they said, the mushrooms help you with depression. The mushrooms help you with anxiety. It helps you with stress. It helps you, like, mushrooms open up your mind to other things. You see life differently. Your certain parts of your brain start communicating with other parts of your fucking brain. Apparently, the shit is outlawed. I don't understand. Cigarettes, not outlawed. Alcohol, not outlawed. Mushrooms, something that can help you, is outlawed. Mushrooms could help you, but it's outlawed because why would anybody want you to get better? There's no, like Chris Rock said, there's no cure. There's no money in the cure. There's no money in the cure. I see life differently. Like, I still function, I still try, but I don't care if nothing happens. I don't care. Like, I try, and if it doesn't work, I don't beat myself up over it anymore because I can't waste time being mad or upset that somebody's mad at me and they don't want me to be in somebody's life, or somebody is upset with me because I think they should be trying harder. You're going to be mad at me. You're going to ice me out. I take pleasure in knowing. I kind of like backpedal off of that comment because I was not sure if I wanted to say it or not, but I don't care. Because I'll die one day. I've accepted the fact that I'm going to die one day, and no matter what anybody does to me, I've lived. Like I've accomplished something. I was born and I've existed and I've done things so people will know that I existed. Do what you will with that information. I take comfort in knowing that everybody who has wronged me, talked shit about me, mistreated me, denied me, lied to me, stolen from me, those people are going to die one day. And I don't have to do anything because it's the inevitable. And I take pride in knowing that no matter how fucked up you are, no matter how many people you lied to about me, you're going to die. You're going to be in the same place I'm going to be one day, which is not existing. And that brings me joy. Because if somebody wronged me and I said, man, I want to kill that motherfucker, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to go to jail. And that's the only reason. There's a consequence in taking a life. I don't mean your conscience keeping you up at night. Talk about it's against the law to kill somebody. That's why I'm willing to bet 90% of the people on this planet do not fucking kill somebody because there is a consequence involved. Is 90 too high? Let me say something that's comfortable for people. That's the reason why 65% of the people on the planet don't kill anyone. Because there's a consequence. But everybody, your favorite comics, your favorite actors, favorite lawyer, favorite TV show, all of those people, your favorite ball player, all those people, they're going to die one day. Just like you. They're going to be gone. And that sometimes makes me feel okay. Like, you'll do whatever damage you're going to do. You'll probably fuck it up for me. But no matter what you do, it's not going to add more time on the clock. You're going to join me one day. And so help me God, everybody who's ever wronged me, you better hope that wherever we go to, when this world is over, that I'm not in charge of you. Because I'm going to fucking make your afterlife. You're going to wish you was in hell. I'll fucking make. Just know this. If I'm in charge of heaven or hell or purgatory, whatever room we go into when this shit is over, if there's a room, I'm playing Shanice I Love Your Smile for at least 800 fucking years. You think I'm playing? I will play Funky Cold Medina, Bust a Move by Young MC, I Love Your Smile by Shanice, and Happy by Pharrell. I will fucking, and every Weekend song. Fucking, I don't care how hot he is. You listen to that shit for the rest of your life, for all your existence, you will die. You will pray for death. Pray for death. I'm not hating. That's just facts. There's no fucking way if God came to you and said, yo, what kind of music do you want to listen to for the rest of your afterlife? And you say The Weeknd, you deserve to go to hell. The fuck would you do that to yourself for? And I'm not disliking The Weeknd, but that voice, you can't listen to that shit for eternity. I can listen to Jill Scott or Sade. I want to say, I'm trying to think of a male artist I could listen to. Maybe Luther. I was about to say John Legend, but fuck no. Once again, I love John Legend's first 3 albums. He was cheating. He was being promiscuous. He was having affairs. He was broke. He was getting his life together, fucking in public. Then he got in a relationship and fucking got happy. Ugh. Now that every song is just like, fucking cut this Forever 21 shit off. But I do like early John Legend. Like I love early Kanye. But I don't want to fucking see those people happy. It's fucked up. But I don't want to see these motherfuckers happy. But I do take pride in knowing that everybody who has ever wronged me, lied on me, or made my life difficult, you're going to die one day too, champ. And there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. Nothing you can do about it. Speaking of death, the reason why I turned the microphone on today, I lost a mentor. Paul Mooney died. And for one thing, I really got to say, you motherfuckers in this world got to learn some etiquette. You have to learn some goddamn manners, people. What the fuck is wrong with you? I have people texting me, rest in peace, Paul Mooney. What the fuck does that even mean? I want to murder you. I want to take a fucking object and bash your skull in until I see your eyeballs touching the back of your fucking skull. Do not text me. Sorry for your loss. I'm telling you now, if you hear my voice, see my face. If you texted me, sorry for your loss, for anything, I want you to be driving when you're texting and fucking hit an 18-wheeler. I'm not playing. Do not text me, sorry for your loss. They did it with fucking Patrice. I didn't even know what the fuck people were talking about when they sent me messages about Patrice, because I'm on the West Coast. Patrice had died on the East Coast. I hadn't even awoken yet. And here I get these fucking text messages about some goddamn rest in peace, sorry for your loss. Who the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you saying? That's so not, is impersonal a fucking word? It's shitty. You a shitty human being if you text somebody, sorry for your loss. Be a fucking human being and pick up the phone and let another person hear your voice and hear the actual tone of your sympathy. Rest in peace, Paul Mooney. I met Paul Mooney in 2006. He had just came off the Chappelle show. He was touring, fucking selling out, killing it. Dave Chappelle did not discover Paul Mooney. Dave Chappelle will tell you he did not discover Paul Mooney. Dave Chappelle did reintroduce Paul Mooney to an audience that Paul Mooney otherwise would have not found with ease the way he did with Dave. I'm not saying he wouldn't have found that audience, because I don't doubt Paul. But Dave did reintroduce Paul to the world. Paul Mooney used to write for Richard Pryor. Paul and Richard wrote on Sanford and Son. They wrote on Richard Pryor's show. Duh. Paul Mooney put people on. People love Paul. Sandra Bernhardt, John Witherspoon, Marshall Warfield. He put people on. And nobody really gave him his flowers when he was alive. Nobody really said, yo, Paul, you helped me out a whole bunch. Let me help you get a show or something. Dave did. Paul did the Ontario Improv, and I had to call the Ontario Improv. I said, look, man, I want a feature for Paul Mooney when he comes. I don't give a fuck. I called Clark, who was the manager, and I said, look, Clark, I want a feature for Paul Mooney. I need to work with Paul Mooney. I want to work with Paul Mooney. I need to see Paul Mooney. I need to talk to Paul Mooney. When I want to do something, I fucking do it. And then eventually they let me be on the show. They didn't let me feature. They let me fucking host. I forgot who. I can't remember who the fuck it was that they let feature. But they were not better than me. They were not better than me. I'm sorry. They were not. And I don't even know who it was. But I know they weren't better than me. We did 6 shows. The last night of the shows, the feature didn't say shit to him like, can I feature for you permanently? I did. I went up to Paul and I said, look, man, I want to work with you. I want to feature for you. He was like, I don't have a feature. I don't have a feature. And I was like, come on, man, let me feature for you. And he said, I don't do anything like that. I don't control that. Then I saw him at the Comedy Union, which was the only black-owned comedy club in Los Angeles. Ennis Mitchell owned it, and they had to close it down during the pandemic. I think it was a part of the plan, right? So Mooney came down to the Comedy Union. I hadn't seen Mooney at the Comedy Union ever, but after I had seen him in Ontario, the universe was like, I'm going to put you in alignment where you can bump into this man and you're going to fucking talk to him and get yourself on this show with him. Saw him at the Comedy Union. He saw me writing because I used to write in the comedy club. I would like sit with a notepad and write out my jokes and my ideas. When I cared, when I was like, I'm going to get better because being funny matters. It don't. Being funny helps comedians, but being funny doesn't matter. There's a shitload of motherfucking comics who eat like fucking Roman kings and they don't have a fucking lick of talent. So Paul saw me and he told me to put my notebook up. He said, don't do that shit in front of people. Do that at home. And I was like, all right, cool. Then I went back to the world. I was like, let me feature for you. Eventually, he broke down. I ain't going to say he broke down. I think Paul just saw something in me. I think he saw himself in me in some way. And he let me feature for him. I think we did Houston, Texas together. Houston, Texas, I met this chick. She came up to me after the show. Young, man. I was ballsy. And she came up to me and said, you were funny. She was short, thick chick. Had an ass. She had big lips. She wore glasses. She like a fucking secretary. Like she looked like she should be a secretary or like a nurse or something. But short, dumpy, stocky, thick, nice titties, nice ass, thighs. Fucking AKA. And came up to me and she whispered in my ear, you were funny. And I forgot. If I call her right now, she'd tell you what I said. I don't know. I think I said I want to make you come or something. I don't know. But she was flirting with me and I flirted back with her. And we hooked up. Oh. Fucking hooked up at the Houston. We stayed at the Houston Hotel. And there was a sex shop across the street from the Houston Hotel. And we went over to the sex shop and walked around. Very Woody Allen, Annie Hall type of shit. Go to a sex shop, walk around in the middle of the night, discussing what toys, appeal to us. I'm vanilla at the time. I mean, I probably still am. But I was like, this. And she like, oh, whatever. And we hooked up. And then from that on, I went on to feature for Paul. And man, when I tell you, I learned so fucking much. But Paul taught me something that he was trying to teach everybody. Man, fuck what anybody say. You are dope. And he meant black people. But when he would do it, you would look at Paul and be like, man, you gonna get us killed, dog. This is, you are talking like a, it was scary because you'll watch Paul, you say, yo, you are talking like a really free black, he was like a real free black man. I mean, really free. Like when I say free like, he don't care what a white person thinks about him. And not everybody can say that. God damn, he didn't give a fuck what white people thought about him. And that is the foot on the neck of black people. We worry about what white people think about us because they dictate what we are allowed to do. Or we're under the impression that they dictate what we are allowed to do. So black people don't speak as blanket like, yeah, we fucking dope and we free and all that. I think we do that part, but we don't tell white people, y'all not as dope as y'all think y'all are. Not everybody. The numbers are low for that. You don't have a lot of black people that are willing to tell white people, I don't give a fuck about what you think you're in control of. Bitch, I'm me. I'm dope. I'm fast. I'm funny. I'm tall. This is Paul talking. Paul did not give a fuck. And I would sit in the back of the comedy club and watch this man say some shit. I'd be like, if this was the 50s, 60s, shit, some areas the 70s and 80s, we'd be lynched. I live in North Hollywood, Van Nuys, right? Next door is Burbank. Burbank is nice. I've always wanted to live in Burbank because Burbank looks nice. But I won't live in Burbank because Burbank used to be a sundown town. Sundown town meaning black people had to be out of that bitch before the sun go down. I fucking hate Burbank for that shit. Because that's in California. That's down the street from me. I'm down the street from a city that used to say, if you're this color, be on the other side of the line or we're going to hang you from a line. There's so much dirt and sin and evil in this world. There's not enough magic erasers, ammonia, pine salt to clean up the filth of humans. People are the worst fucking people. This shit causes me to be depressed as well. But once again, if I tell people I'm depressed, they want to give me a fucking crystal. You need no goddamn crystal. Take that crystal and shove it up your ass. I don't need no goddamn crystal. I work with Paul. We did Cobb's in San Francisco. Paul Mooney is king in San Francisco. In the Bay Area, where he's from, the king. Dave Chappelle is the prince of San Francisco. Paul show up, people come out. Dave show up, people come out. Everybody else is a second fucking thought. I don't give a fuck what you say. Paul Mooney show up in the Bay Area, people come out. Dave come to the Bay Area, people come out. Everybody else is under fucking consideration. Cobb's Comedy Club holds about 400 people. They have upstairs area, downstairs area, big ass club. Cobb's also has 2 menus. I'm not even going to get into it. They just have 2 menus. One is for when they have a certain demographic showing up, and another one when there's a different demographic showing up. I could be wrong. Cobb's holds about 400 people. Paul would do 5 or 6 shows line around the corner for all shows. Sold the fuck out. All the shows sold out. Everybody. Black, white, Asian, other, Latin. Everybody come out to see Paul. Bitch is packed. And he murders that motherfucker. Great fucking shows. Somebody stole my goddamn iPod out of the green room and nobody wanted to reimburse me. Like I'm just fucking crazy that I lost my iPod. Like I lost it. My iPod, the $249 silver iPod that holds 80 songs on that motherfucker at the time. I just so happened to fucking lose it. What? After the show was over, on the Saturday night show, Paul says, you want to grab something to eat. This man walks down Columbia Avenue or Columbus Avenue. I forget which street Cobbs is on. Hold on, let me see right quick. I believe Cobbs is on Columbus. But I could be wrong. It's in the Italian part of town. Cobbs. Comedy. God damn it. It's like when you know you're trying to, like your phone know when you're trying to find something. Columbus Avenue. 915 Columbus Avenue. We walk down 915 Columbus Avenue, walking down from Cobbs. We stop at a couple places trying to get something to eat. Eventually, we make it to this jazz club, and we're sitting in this. I'm like transported like to the 50s, 60s. I'm in a jazz club in San Francisco. Black lady on the stage singing. Only thing missing was a zoot suit, you know, and a big ass hat that looked like a fucking record. And me and Paul are sitting at the bar, and we order food. And Paul actually paid for it. Paul is like, look, I do me, but he actually paid for the food. And as we're sitting there eating, jazz music playing in the background. We're eating and he's talking to me. I'm talking to Paul Mooney. By this time, we had been on the road together at least 4 or 5 times. And each time we worked together, I would become more and more comfortable with talking to him as a person, not as a boss. I pull out my notepad to go over my jokes. And as I'm writing, he turns to me. He says, you know that joke you do? Right there. Fucking right there. As soon as he says, you know that joke you do? I fucking lost it. I was like, this motherfucker knows a joke that I do? Paul Mooney knows a joke that I do? Because there are headliners that don't watch the features. Then there's headliners that watch the feature to make sure the feature isn't funnier than them and then get that person kicked off the show. Because most headliners are bitches. Insecure. Most. It's like maybe 10% that's not. You're trying to keep your position. I get it. It's insecurity. You think that because people think this guy is funny or this girl is funny that they're going to lose that fan. Insecure. Not Paul. Fucking not Paul. Not Paul at all. Paul does 2 hours like it's nothing. I pull out my notepad, the joke you do, and I say, yeah. He says, do this. Say this in the joke. And I say, really? And then he caught an attitude because I questioned him. And I wasn't questioning like, you know what you're talking about. I was like, really? Say that right there? He's like, don't listen to me. Oh, something he said. But I was like, no. I think my tone ticked him off because I was in shock that he was helping me. I wasn't really questioning. I was like, really? Like, you helping me right now? I didn't know what to do. I'm listening to a man who used to write jokes for what arguably was the greatest comedian that ever walked this planet. This man opened up for Richard Pryor. He wrote for Richard Pryor. He opened up for Eddie Murphy. He works for Dave Chappelle. He works for nothing but fucking, he wrote for fucking Fred Red Fox. He works with nothing but fucking greatness. And I'm fucking sitting here in a goddamn jazz club in San Francisco, California, one of the best places in the world for comedy, and I got one of the greatest fucking minds in comedy telling me what the fuck to say? Ball game. Ball game. Ball game. When I say ball game, I mean that right there, ball game. Had I been in the moment and then really enjoyed it and understood what was taking place, I probably would not be sitting in the hallway of my fucking apartment doing a podcast that I do inconsistently because the return isn't enough for me to keep doing it because I'm inconsistent with it. Because society and social media has you spoiled or have you thinking, yo, if I do something, then people should like it immediately. And if they don't, then I need to figure out what else to fucking do. That part of me is a fucking shitty millennial in the I want instant gratification. Fucking generations. This next generation, I don't know what the fuck these batch of bitches is gonna be, but woo! Y'all motherfuckers in trouble. I'm gonna be dead and gone. Y'all gonna be dealing with these motherfuckers here. Nothing. Don't give me no cyborg arm, leg, or heart or nothing. I don't want to live that long to deal with the fuck ever batch of fucking people about to be created now. I don't want any parts of it. I don't give a fuck if these motherfuckers grow up to fly. Fuck them. I went through 2 birthdays in this pandemic. I turned 44 in the pandemic, and I turned 45 in the pandemic. I recently just had a birthday. I can't tell you shit about my birthday other than the fact that I turned 45. And I always dread my birthday. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm never excited about my birthday. There's no part of me that's like, oh, here it comes. What the fuck am I celebrating? I'm celebrating the eventuality of the coming of an era, like the ending of me. Like I'm celebrating the ending of me. I don't understand how that's something to be excited about. I don't know how to get excited about. I made another year. Great. But also, it's another year closer to you're going to die. So I debated whether or not I was going to turn the microphone back on. I debated if I was going to do the podcast anymore. I debated if I was going to do stand-up comedy anymore. I debated if I was going to stay in California or move out of Los Angeles. I debated if I was going to give up entertainment. I debated if I gave a fuck about any of this. Now, I started recently studying philosophy. I've always been fascinated with it. The problem with philosophy has always been there's only white men who are philosophers. It's not a lot of black people that are philosophers that are, I guess, put on a pedestal or have the same recognition as Aristotle or Socrates or Plato or Carl Jung, any of the famous philosophers. But I still studied it because that's what you do. When you have the ability to just sit around all day long and think about what life means and someone pays you for it, or you have money or you come from money where you have time to just sit and think about what life means to you because you don't have anything to do, you get philosophers. That's not true for everybody. But a part of my journey into philosophy, I talked to a friend of mine. I was like, yo, I think I want to combine the philosophy and, my thoughts on life into this podcast. The problem is I'm not like famous and no one really wants to hear an angry black guy. And I don't think I'm angry. I'm very passionate and I question everything. I question everything. And for someone not to question everything, I don't know how the fuck you live in a world where you don't question every fucking thing. I question the motives of every human being I come in contact with. I question my manager. I question my agent. I question people I date. I question people that have their best interests for me, have my best interests, you know. I question, like, why are you trying to keep me alive? If I see somebody stop, get out their car, if I'm laying on the ground, bleeding out, a part of me is like, I thank you for saving me. But what the fuck do you expect to gain out of this? Because I don't know a world where we live in where somebody doesn't want something for something. I learned that I'm a nihilist. I like Nietzsche. Nietzsche was a nihilist. A nihilist means that somebody doesn't believe that anything means anything. Like nothing means anything. Like all this shit is. It's Sim City. It's Fortnite. You're basically just doing shit until you die. If you really think about it, you're just doing shit. There's nothing you can do that's going to make sure you live longer than however long you live. It's like a game. It's Fortnite. You're gathering supplies. You're trying to find a good partner to save money and get through life and make sure when you old that, you know, you can add more time onto the clock by having money. Rockefeller had fucking 15 heart surgeries. Who gives a fuck about Rockefeller? This motherfucker's an old white man, old racist white man. But he kept having heart surgeries because he had money to get hearts from people. That's what you do. But I think about all the people, you know, a lot just hit me at 45. I spent 45 years of my life trying to live up to the expectations of people who themselves did not live up to the expectations of the people that had expectations of them. And that, now, I'm not talking about just family. I'm talking about everybody. Why would we all want to do the same thing? Why would I want to work a regular job and fight traffic and come home to a wife who wishes I was more, or that she was doing more, or the kids were smarter, or they were more attractive, or they wasn't fucking retarded? You know, your wife's mad at you because you got out of shape, or you're mad at your wife because she fucking looks like a deployed airbag now. You look like a overweight wrestler. Nobody's happy with anything. Everybody wants more. Everybody wants more money. Everybody wants more property. Everybody wants more clothes. Everybody wants more electronics. Everybody wants more. There's no way you can fill the tank. To teach somebody to love themselves is dangerous. To teach people to teach someone to love you, for someone to teach you to love yourself is dangerous. If you teach yourself to love yourself, you don't need anything. And if you don't need anything, you won't buy shit. You won't be a consumer. You won't buy gas. You won't go on Amazon. You won't go on Apple. You won't go anywhere. You won't buy shit. Then the economy stops. No one's able to make money off of the people because the people are like, I'm good. I don't need shit. Imagine if we lived in a world where people just felt like, I don't need shit other than water and food, shelter, a way to get around, to get food and water and clothes. Imagine if you just loved yourself enough where you didn't need anything. That's a dangerous world. That's like a cure for capitalism. And even then, as I say this out loud, I have to ask myself, do I really give a fuck about anything? I try very hard not to be a nihilist. I try very hard not to be, of the mindset of fuck it, why bother? What am I doing? Why am I accruing all of this shit? Why am I gathering all these books that I have? Or the video games I have, or the shoes that I have? Fashion goes away, Whatever you're into right now, that shit is null and void next week. Nothing means anything, but we care about everything, or we tell ourselves we care about everything, or we make ourselves care about everything when it shouldn't fucking matter. I studied Nietzsche. I like his philosophy. A lot of the philosophers have a common thread of religion in their philosophy. Jordan B. Peterson. I guess people have issue with him. They have issue with him because he's cool with Joe Rogan. I don't give a fuck. Somebody was mad because Joe Rogan said all this woke culture is gonna make it where straight white men can't talk anymore. I don't know how to feel sorry for that, Joe. I don't know how to feel bad for people who have pillaged and raped, mistreated, talked down to people that look like me for as long as I have been alive and before I was even born. I can't feel bad for a white man who says, I want to be able to do and say what I want to say. That means I don't want women talking or minorities talking. I don't know if I care about anything because I spend a lot of my time trying to understand how did the world get to a place where there are a group of people who dictate fashion and money and what's important and what's popular and what's meaningful and what you should aspire to. How did one group of people set the tone for everybody? That's just a question I have. It's hard to understand something when you don't go through it. Like some people have to go through something to understand what another group of people are talking about before they can say, I get it now. Then there are some things that you don't have to go through just to know this is really fucking bad. There's a philosophy term for that. I forgot. I don't want to fuck it up. I'll talk about it next time. I don't want to fuck it up. But there is a philosophy for when people, mainly when white people try to talk to me about race or they ask me questions. It's like, man, if you got to ask me what I'm going through, then you don't know. What do people do to you? This, that, and the other, and then that, this, and some more, and some more, and some more after that. But you don't see it. Because you don't see how the hot dog is made. Joe Rogan had an issue, went on somebody's podcast. It wasn't even on his podcast when he said it. It's very calculated because he went on somebody else's podcast who's less known than him and said these comments. And it's kind of like, let me drop the bomb on this person. Let them take the bullet for it. But it'll also draw listeners to whoever this podcast Joe Rogan went on. Because now this person is labeled as, I can get people on the podcast to say stuff. Kevin Spacey got booked in a movie. Remember, Kevin Spacey was canceled. Kevin Spacey, when I tell you I don't understand how we live in this world and we just go every day, like somebody hit your child, as a parent, you want to find out what child hit who hit your child. Nothing happens until we find out who hits this child. Something gets stolen out of the White House. Somebody recognizes it. They shut the White House down. No one's getting out until we find the person who stole the thing. Or somebody shot the president. No one's getting out of the White House until we find the person who shot the president. You see what I'm saying? Like, there are certain things in life that demand immediate response. Racism does not demand an immediate response when it is towards black people. It's not. They have not passed a law to protect black people from hate crimes. Not that I know of. I believe if there was a law out there that says, you can't do stuff to black people would know about it. We would talk about it. We would carry it around on a t-shirt or a card or something. I know there was a recent hatred towards another group of people, and they had hashtags like we had hashtags. And they got a bill passed to protect them. How you expect somebody to wake up every day and want to keep living in a world that don't give a fuck about you? How you expect me to want to do anything when I know that no matter how dope I am at what I do or how much content I put out, there are still people that don't believe I deserve to eat at a restaurant, have an education, own a home, breathe. I don't know what to do with that information, man. You know, people say, just keep living. Why, though? Why, Kimosabi? Why keep living? What's the point? What's the point of being born if you got to fight to enjoy living, and on top of that, you're going to die one day? God fucked up, man. Somebody fucked up. Because there are people who come into this world and their sole goal, their purpose in life, or they've made it their purpose, is to fight for the rights of people who are denied an opportunity at a good life. Good life meaning education, water, food, a place to work, earn a living, free from persecution, getting beat up because of your color, your race, the God you believe in. This world is so fucking stupid. We'll all get along if aliens come down here. But here's the funny part. They say the aliens are already here. Like UFOs and all that shit. Pentagon. Then you got Hollywood. You know, you got people that say people in Hollywood are reptiles. Maybe there's a lot of bitches out here with bad skin. When I get up on them, I'm like, God damn. How you look like this and you got money? I've seen this. Look, your TV is a lie. There are people that you watch on TV that they look good on TV, but when you see them in person, you like, what the fuck kind of sorcery is this? This bitch looks like worn out luggage. Or this dude smells like fucking segregation and hatred. Had a baby. And they named it Distraught. That's the baby's name, Distraught. I'm not the most cheerful person on a podcast. I'm not the most cheerful person in life. All I do is think. That's what I do for a living. Just Killing Time podcast, the whole concept behind Just Killing Time is I'm just doing shit until I die. I'm just doing stuff until I die. Because nothing is going to stop that. Let me tell you something. At 45, every day I become more and more comfortable with who I am. And it's taken this long to become comfortable with who I am. You know why I'm comfortable with who I am? Man. Because I take pleasure in knowing that every person who has lied on me, every person who has spoken ill of me in a room of executives and people that can hire people and have classified me and said I'm a depressing person. When I told people I was suffering from depression, nobody wanted to listen. people that I have made people with, people that I have created life with. I have shared that I was depressed, and they fucking told me I need to pray about it. I need to ask God to help me. I'm not close to God, or I'm not depressed. I don't know why the suicide rate amongst black men is not higher. Because we're the most beloved, hated motherfuckers on the planet. Our own women hate us. But then our own women say we hate them. So we never on the same fucking page. Ever. I'm just being honest from my experience living in this world. This girl who wanted to date me out of complete, which I feel was desperation, would get on me because I would say stuff and she would say, you can't be absolute about that because you don't know. You can't speak for everybody. Agreed. I can't. But as a black man in America, in this world, on this planet, in this universe, in this timeline, I do not have an enjoyable experience of being a black man. I'm creative because I gotta try to figure out how to survive. I gotta figure out how to survive the legal system. I gotta figure out the legal system when I leave my house and I drive in case I fuck up. Gotta figure out the legal system, how to maneuver around it if you have a child with somebody and they don't like you anymore, or they mad that you don't like them anymore, and they come for you. They put the system on you. You gotta figure out how to live with that shit on you, like a bounty. I do not enjoy living in this world as a black man because the shit is fucking hard. It's so fucking hard. There's nothing enjoyable about this shit. And I'll be honest, when, black women are nice to me, I'm sleeping with one eye open. I'm skeptical. When white women are nice to me, I'm sleeping with one eye open. Skeptical. Any woman. So I just got trust issues when it comes to women. But as far as it goes with race, I don't know if it's a comment that I want to make, but I haven't formulated the words in my head yet to say it in a way where it won't come back to bite me in the ass. I'm trying to figure out why I should care or why shit should matter without wanting to give up on life.